Trump is killing America.
Black folks need to have an exit plan.
An exit plan or an action plan?
Actionable exit plan.
Look,
Now. You need to have one now.
With loyal Congress and an emboldened base and little opposition, things are looking bleak.
Yeah, I knew that after January 6th. That's why I said we got to get them out of here.
And I'm so glad that I listened. I'm so glad that I listened, because things are changing rapidly globally as we speak. We're live now from Lisbon, Portugal, because that's where we live. Because I listened to my husband, and after January 6th, he said, we are not going to be here.
Peace out.
We're not going to be here during the next election. We're not going to be here during the next election. And now here we are. And the melon felon is in charge. And all of these EOs, executive orders, right? And all of this stripping away of constitutional rights are in full fledged. Right? Like there's no hiding anymore. We cannot like act like this stuff is not happening.
No, you can't.
We cannot act like this stuff is not happening. And so the time to begin your expat journey begins today. Well, actually, it should have began yesterday, but if not, it begins today. Seriously, as Black Americans, we look, we know what time it is. We know how this thing works.
Yeah.
Right?
But first, let's introduce ourselves.
Maybe. Hey, y'all. My name's Halisa.
And I'm Rick. Welcome to our Black Utopia.
On our channel, we talk about money, we talk about travel, and we talk about life abroad. We help folks who look like us, Black folks who are getting close to retirement age and forgot to plan. We help them get their money straight so that they can retire on time, or maybe even abroad.
Which is a very good thing. Abroad is a good thing.
It is a good thing.
And early is a good thing too.
Early is a good thing as well. Yes. All right, sweetheart. So what are we talking about today?
Today we're going to talk about why you should start your expat journey now.
Exactly.
Not tomorrow, now.
Exactly. So we're going to go over what Trump is doing right now that will affect your life, right? Because there is so much going on. There is so much going on that it's easy to get distracted. It's easy to get sidetracked onto all of these little issues. But what we care about is Black folks being free. What we care about is Black folks having financial freedom. So we're going to talk about what Trump is doing now and why it affects you. Okay. And then we're going to talk about why you need to start your expat journey now. When?
Now.
Right. And then we're going to, and then stick around to the end, because we will give you three of the top places where Black expats are going, where you can be accepted and live the life of your dreams. The top 3 places. All right. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to go ahead and get started. And then we will say hello to the folks who are in the chat. But first, if you're new to our channel, you might not know, back in 2018, Rick and I got a wake-up call. We were getting close to retirement age. And we looked at our money and it looked crazy. But we got our financial act together.
We figured it out.
We did. I love you, sweetheart. We got our financial act together and we went from negative 22,000 to over 1.1 million in net worth. Y'all, if we can do it.
You can too.
Exactly.
Yes, you can.
Exactly. So first, I want to give a shout out to our family members. I'm going to call them family members who are helping us in the chat. That is both Greta's and Action VJ. They are in the chat. And if you need something, they're going to help you out. I'm going to also be dropping links as we go through this. All right. So first, the first executive, or well, not the first. Okay. The first one that we're going to talk about is the rolling back of civil rights.
I mean, you know, this
personal because I'm in the process of burying my dad, and my dad's whole life was fighting for our civil rights. I'm now reading all of
The
the
clippings.
newspaper articles and clippings that my mom, thank God, kept. And I'm learning stuff that I never knew, that the things that my dad did.
I didn't know her father was a militant.
According to the San Diego newspapers,
San
he was a Negro militant. But then also according, he was lauded by Coca-Cola and praised for his work in the community. So, I just think that, it's pretty crazy that everything that my mom and dad fought for is being reversed. So he signed multiple executive orders eliminating diversity, equity, and inclusion offices in federal agencies. Now, see, and banning funding for DEI initiatives and federal contracts. Now, you might be thinking, yeah, but my company doesn't have a federal contract. The company that I work for right? Or I don't work for the federal government. But here's the thing, y'all. And I've been saying this for a while now. The reason why the Republicans have been attacking the federal government, this is my opinion. This is life according to Halisi. The reason why them white folks don't like the federal government is because they hire black folks who are qualified to do these jobs, right? And so we are highly represented in government jobs because the government has to follow the laws of the land, and the laws of the land say you can't discriminate. So when you don't discriminate, you hire who is best
suited for the job.
Exactly.
Qualified.
Who is best qualified, who is best suited. And who is that? That's the person who works twice as hard, right, to get half as far, right? Right? That's who is hired.
I mean, federal agencies have been ordered to eliminate woke, or racial grievance programs.
What's a woke program? Can somebody tell me in the comments? Because I'm looking at y'all. What's a woke program? Does that mean that you are awakened to the fact that racism exists? Does that mean that you are awakened to the fact that white supremacy exists? Does that mean that you are awake to the fact that white, entitled, incompetent people are running the government? WEIs? Is that what that means? What does woke mean?
To me, it's just you're paying attention.
Now, our definition, Black folks' definition, means that you have consciousness, right? That you have consciousness. But they have taken it just, and turned it into the N word.
They just made a negative out of it.
Right? So here's the problem with this. There are a lot of upper middle class Black folks who have made their living through DEI. And even before DEI was a thing, right, we still had affirmative action type programs. And so there are a lot of headhunters. There are a lot of agencies that are Black owned, right, that are tapped by these huge corporations, the Coca-Colas of the world, the Anheuser-Busch's, those huge corporations, right, tap these smaller agencies to make sure that they are getting POCs in the door, and more specifically, Black people in the doors. Once they canceled that, what makes you think that Anheuser-Busch is going to keep their program?
They might.
They might.
Since they're not an American-owned company anymore.
Right. They might, right? What makes you think Coca-Cola is going to keep their program? We've already seen that that companies have gotten rid of their programs. And we see how Target, the reason why, so you should be boycotting Walmart as well, but Target has definitely started to buckle, haven't they? Yeah, because if Black Americans were our own nation, we would be the fifth most richest, something like that, fifth to 10th, something like that, most richest nation in the world. That's our buying power. That's our buying power. So we need to represent, we need to realize what is going on. So the second part of that, of the civil rights um, elimination, right? Civil rights elimination or rollback is that contrary to what the Melon Felon says on air, he actually has cut essential funding for HBCUs. Right? Pell Grants, student loan forgiveness, all that stuff that helps sustain HBCUs has been cut. So, like, you giving $1 over here and taking away $1 over there. See how they do? See how they do? So obviously that undermines our opportunities for upward mobility. This is what is going on in the United States. And we want you to think about how you want your grandkids or your kids to look at themselves. Because even though racism is global, even though anti-Blackness is global, the way it manifests itself, the way it is ubiquitous in American media is not necessarily the same globally. Now, we know that there have been advertisements by like Benetton and other companies, other European companies that have been problematic. I'm not saying that they don't exist. All right. So don't get up in our comments trying to bring up that stuff. We know. But by and large, when we look at European television and entertainment in comparison to American and the brainwashing that goes on, it is not the same.
No.
It is not the same. And so you will not get, because the countries are not the same, because the history is not the same. And so your kids are not going to be getting the same type of negative indoctrination that they would get in the United States. And with that, let's see who is in the chat and say hello. Y'all know the deal. If you have a question or comment, please put a Q in front of it. If you find this information interesting, hit that like button.
Yes.
We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. We understand that what we are doing and for us talking out like this means that we could be put on a list. It means that when I went back to make sure that my dad was getting the health care that he needed, that I had to be concerned about whether I would be even let back in to my country of birth.
Yeah, I mean,
Real talk.
We were actually having
that conversation.
And what do you say if? How do you react if?
Right. And supposedly the land of the free and the home of the brave, right? Isn't that what they say? Isn't that what they say? Hey, Tammy, good to see you. Good to see you in the chat. All right, let's go all the way back up to the top. First of all, Angel, thank you for becoming a member.
Yes, welcome.
So we were talking to our members before this live stream. We chitty chat with our members before every single live stream. Well, most live streams. I didn't last week because of what I was dealing with, but and Mother's Day. But most of the time we talk to members before our live streams, and then every other Thursday we go live with our members who are legend members. So thank you, Angel, for becoming a member. We really appreciate it. Hey, Greta.
Hey, Greta.
Hey, Ryder Skater. Cheryl, PhD, is in the house. A. Lee, hello, Halisi and Rick, as the rest of the OBU family. Hello. Good to see you in the chat. Gwen and Derek are in the chat. Allison is in the chat. Hey there. Good to see you. CK, of course. And Greta Cobb. And hey, Bobby is in the chat. So Bobby asked about the meetup. She asked about the meetup in the last one. So, or maybe it's down here. Okay. Question. All right. So when is the last? Oh, there it is. Okay. So thank you, baby. The deadline to purchase tickets. So we're having a meetup June 16th and 17th. For those of you who don't know, if you're already planning to Portugal, maybe you can rearrange your schedule a little bit and come to our meetup. So June 16th, we are having a reception. June 17th is an all-day event, a cultural tour down to the medieval village of Evora with wine tasting and pairing and all of that. So Bobby asked when the deadline to purchase tickets are. Obviously, it's already too late to get your t-shirts. So all of you who bought early, you know, and you purchased a t-shirt or a tote bag or something like that, y'all are in the know. But obviously, you don't need a t-shirt to come to the meetup. So the last day, I haven't been given a last day from the vendors, to be perfectly honest, but I'm going to say let's plan for the end of the month to the beginning of June. Okay. Mm-hmm. So let's plan around the first week of June for the deadline for the meetup. Okay. When I get more information and a hard deadline, I will give that to you. But financially and mentally prepare for the deadline being the first week of June. We're going to have so much fun. We almost have 100 people coming. And, you know, we're going to celebrate St. Anthony's Day. We're going to celebrate Juneteenth. We're going to celebrate, you know, all of the festivals that are going on here in Portugal during the month of June, because June is the month of popular saints. And so there are festivals going on all around the country. As a matter of fact, Porto's big day is the 21st. Is that what she said? No, it was like the 23rd, 24th, or 25th. I remember it was around our youngest son's birthday.
Okay.
So Porto's big day is somewhere in there, the weekend of 23rd, 24th, 25th. I don't know if that's a weekend or not. The big day in Lisbon for St. Anthony's Day, their patron saint is a different saint. I don't know what they saint is, but but the whole town starts to party on that day. I will get you that exact date. Our date is June 12th, June 11th. It's the Thursday before our meetup is St. Anthony's Day here in Lisbon. So hopefully y'all can come. Hey, Action VJ, we just want to give you a shout out and thank you so much. Thank you for keeping my husband company while I was gone.
He kept me in line.
Did he keep you in line? Okay, well, that's good. That's good. All right. So we want to say hello to all of you. We see you in the chat. We love you, Killer Queen, KB. We got Parisani in the chat, and we want to give a shout out to Maureen and Jametta, and Vanessa just became a member, so we want to thank you.
Yes, thank you
for that. The ABX girl. All right, we're gonna get that off. All right, let's keep going. All right, so we talked about the executive orders regarding civil rights. Now we want to talk about the executive orders regarding voter suppression, because see, here's the thing, guys. People keep saying we just got to hold on for 2 more years, right? Like, or 1.5 more years till 2026. We just got to hold on till 2026, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
No guarantees.
We're assuming that there will be another free and fair election. That's what we're assuming. And I can't guarantee that. I mean, we already know that the last election was not free and fair. That's why the United States is no longer considered a pure democracy. It's considered a flawed democracy. Okay? Because all of the voter suppression tactics that the states have been doing, and which is why you need to vote in every single election, Black folks, even when you live abroad, because the stuff affects us even abroad, right? Like, I can't get away from it unless we denounce citizenship. And I can't see us denouncing citizenship while we still have family members in the United States that we're responsible for in some fashion, right?
Yeah.
I just can't see it. So the DOJ no longer monitors voter suppression. We know in the last election that 300 120,000 voters were thrown off the voter rolls.
Yeah. And like a lot of states, or several states, have passed laws restricting absentee voting.
I'm sorry. I think it's is it 3.2 million? Or is it 32? A bunch of folks were thrown off the voter rolls.
Oh, yeah, there was a lot of people.
A lot. So many that if all of those voters were able to vote, and see, it was very strategic because if you look at the folks who were thrown off the voter rolls, the majority of them were Black, other people of color, students, right? People that they believed were going to vote for the Democratic candidate. And they were thrown off the voter rolls.
Yeah.
And if those folks would have been allowed to vote, if their votes had been counted, because some of them might have been given provisional ballots, Kamala Harris would be president right now, and we probably wouldn't be having this conversation. We'd be having a much different conversation. So the other thing that's going on is that with all of this, the gerrymandering, they are diluting our power. They are diluting our power by subjugating us and reducing us down to like one congressional district, right? They draw these lines so weird so that all the Black people in a city have only one representative.
Right.
Or in a county or in an area, right? Only have one representative, only have one chance to get a representative that's going to represent them. Whereas the other folks have multiple chances, right? They've got all of these people because of the gerrymandering that has gone on.
Yeah, and the melon felon, the orange turds, department, DOJ, I mean, they're taking away protections.
Yeah.
Civil protections.
Exactly. And like they refuse to investigate civil rights allegations. So where does that leave us? Like if we cannot, I just got finished doing the Job Liberation Summit, okay? And the thing that occurred to me with all of these things that are going on is our ability to say, I've been discriminated against on this job, and I want recompense. That ability has been hampered significantly by what this man is doing.
Yeah.
Who do we complain to? And that's why we're saying you need to start your expat journey now. When?
Now.
When?
Now.
Now, y'all. Now. Because this fool, and here's the thing, because y'all know I worked for the Democratic Party. Besides a few folks that we could probably name on one hand and maybe even have fingers left over, besides a few folks, the rest of the people in the Democratic Party should be voted out. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
No.
They're capitulating. They are falling down and bending over backwards, trying not to call what is happening in Israel a travesty, with those babies being murdered in Gaza and being starved to death in Gaza, right? Like, who are we? Who are we? They're also targeting protesters and free speech, which is why I had to worry not just about my dad and how his health is doing, but I had to worry if I would even be able to see him. Because these mofos want to start locking up folks and pulling folks out of the line and taking them to undisclosed locations because of what they say. Not what they say that incites violence, right? Just because they disagree with a political point of view. and see. Here's the thing, y'all. Here's the thing, because all you foundational Black Americans think that you're safe. You're not. You're not. Who you think gonna pick them grapes? Who you think gonna pick that lettuce? Who you think gonna pick that cotton? Who you think they think is gonna pick all that stuff? Who you think?
I'm not.
No, I sure as hell ain't. I ain't picking, like, some people say we are not our ancestors. Look, our ancestors were bold. Our ancestors were beautiful. Our ancestors were brave. Our ancestors were strong. They were brilliant. But they also did not have access to what we have access to. And so while we are our ancestors, we know a little bit more than what they knew.
Right.
So if you think, white supremacists, that you will come after us with some nonsense and think that there will not be any rebuke, yeah, I got a bridge in Brooklyn, right? I got a bridge in Brooklyn. The things that were, and this is why they're doing this. So the things that were going on in 2019 when it comes to the George Floyd and all of those protests, they are now trying to say that peaceful protest is domestic extremism, especially when Black folks are involved.
I was going to say Black-led protests or Black people protesting. Yeah.
Right, because why in the last protests that I saw, the only people being arrested and semi-hogtied were Black women. Black women over the age of 50. Right? So there have been a lot of anti-protest laws that have been passed on the state level, and now they have the backing of the federal government. Right? We already know that peaceful Black-led protests are surveilled, right? They've been surveilled since the 40s and 50s. That ain't never stopped. We knew that we were going to be harassed. We knew that they were going to shut us down. That's why we haven't been showing up out there in them streets, right? But that does not mean that it's not going to come home inside of our house. And that's why we're saying it's time to start your expat journey now.
Yeah.
Right? Now.
I mean, the erasure of our history, who we are, what we contributed, our ideas, federal funding pulled from universities that teach critical race theory, our identity politics, public schools and military academies, being purged of books.
Right? Right?
So
even Pulitzer Prize winning authors' books.
But they got Mein Kampf in them libraries, don't they?
That part, right? And so how does this affect our money? How does this affect our life abroad? Right? That's the question. Why are you talking about this, Our Black Utopia? Why are you talking about the erasure of Black history? Because the erasure of history in general, first of all, the erasure of history in general is what authoritarians do. Because if you don't know your history, then you don't know what you should be about. You don't know what your rights are, right? Like if you don't know your history, you don't know how bad it can get. And you don't know why we are in the situation that we are in today. The reason why Gen Z tends to be more racist than the millennials is because they don't know their history. Right? It's easy to call Black people the other. It's easy to dehumanize Black people. It's easy to call us lazy if you do not know your own history. So it's not like, oh, we just don't want to give them credit. No, it's not just about that. It's never been just about that. It's about power and control. It's about power control. And so what we need to ask you is, why would you live in a country that doesn't treat you well? That's the question. Why would you live in a country that does not treat you well? Right? So federal education policy mandates this. So what did I tell you about the Secretary of Education yesterday? What did she?
Oh,
The
she
Secretary of
was talking
Education.
about they need to know A1.
The Secretary of Education.
Children need to know.
The WEI, the white, entitled, incompetent Secretary of Education, was at some educational conference talking to either educators or kids, I think educators, talking about our kids need to be on the front lines to learn A1 technology.
Yeah, just think about that for a minute.
A1. I thought that was sauce that we put on our steaks. That's what I thought.
Yeah, well, because when you said it to me, I was like,
What? She was talking about AI, y'all. She was calling AI, artificial intelligence, A1, which means she does not even know what AI stands for, and she is running the Department of Education. You cannot make this shit up. You cannot. You cannot. You cannot. So this patriarchy, this patriotic history, is a history that makes people who know that they are on the wrong side of history, that makes people who know deep down inside that they are morally incorrect, it makes them feel better.
Yeah.
It makes them feel better. And, we've got to make them comfortable because they're uncomfortable when we talk about these things. Why do you always have to bring that up? When I told the doctor one of the doctors who was handling my dad's medical care, that my great grandmother was born on the plantation, he's an immigrant. I think he was I think he was Indian or Pakistani. Okay, so he's an immigrant, but no accent, so American. But he doesn't know our history. He doesn't know our history. And so I wanted to let him know that he was working on a civil rights icon. That's who's in that bed. That's who's in that bed. And if you think that this is not important, let me remind you that my grandmother was born on the plantation. So, we never say to Jews, stop talking about the Holocaust, right? We never say that to them. But white folks always say to us, stop talking about slavery, stop talking about Jim Crow, as if it were so long ago. And yet both are within my lifetime as far as people who are living, right? Like, are we kidding ourselves right now? The other things that he has been doing, he's been empowering police and immunizing misconduct. If we are worried about our babies, why are we not doing whatever we have to do to get out of the United States and not raise our Black babies in an environment that tells them that they're lazy, that they're less than, that they're not as intelligent, that their natural looks are not beautiful, right? That, shut up and play ball, right? Shut up and play ball. But do not come up with any controversial opinions. That's what America is doing to our kids. And so many people are hell-bent on staying until their kid graduates from high school or some other such nonsense. Why? Why? So they could potentially get unalived by a white supremacist, right? Like, I just saw those two beautiful Black young men who were from Atlanta. They were on their way flying to Boston, I want to say. I think they were twins. And 18. So I say young men, but they were really children as far as I'm concerned, right? And they were found in the hills, in the mountains of Georgia, like mutilated. They never made it to the airport. Did the Uber driver, like what? I still don't know, but I'm sure you guys heard this story, right? Like, is this what you want for your babies? I'm not saying that that could not have happened elsewhere. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, where is it most likely to happen? And where is it most likely to happen because of the color of your baby's skin? One thing that I do know is that in public schools in the United States, our Black boys are just adorable until they're about 8 years old,
Yeah.
right? They're just adorable. Oh, he's so cute. Until they're about 8 years old. Then they become a threat. And that's when you see the light die in our Black boys' eyes when it comes to school. Right? So why are you trying to stay and let your child graduate from there? Right now, every single person who is watching should be convincing their grandchildren and their children to go to college outside of the United States unless they're going to go to an HBCU. Seriously. Seriously. Why get into debt at a predominantly white institution in the United States? And he's canceling income-based repayment plans. And he's canceling Biden's non-repayment plan. And if you work for the federal government for 10 years, then you don't have to repay. He's canceling all that. So why? If I were a parent right now, I would tell my kid, I'm not paying for American publics. I'm not paying. I'm just not. You know that college was basically free up until we started going, up until people who looked like us started getting admitted. It was basically free in America. Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And so now they keep us in debt. They keep us enslaved through debt and these student loans. And for all of the parents out there, put your foot down. Put your foot down. It's college. You know as well as I know that at the end of the day, they got that BA, they got that BS or whatever, right? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Unless they're going to Harvard or Princeton, it does not matter.
Isn't Harvard still in hot water?
Harvard's not in hot water. Harvard told Trump to F off.
Well, as far as he's concerned, they're in hot water.
They said we got this. We got this money. We got this money, right? Like, so unless your child is going to Harvard or something like that, why are you paying all of that money for them to go to the University of Kansas? Ole Miss. Why? Georgia Tech. Why? Why are you paying all that money? For them to learn self-hate. What else is on the chopping block?
Retirement programs.
If they found $8 billion worth of fraud and abuse in Medicaid, why are they trying to cut $880 billion? Just cut the $8 billion. Why are they trying to cut $880 billion worth of fraud, worth of whatever from Medicaid, right? $880 billion from Medicaid, yet they've only found $8 billion worth of fraud, supposed fraud. And why does this matter? Anybody who has the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, is propped up by Medicaid. If you live in California, it's called Medi-Cal. It's called different things in different states, but it's still Medicaid. Okay? So do your homework. Nursing homes, a lot of them are paid by Medicaid. Hospitals, if you live in a town or a suburb that is away from the city center, your hospital, your local hospitals and clinics are being propped up by the ACA. They are being propped up by Medicaid. That's why this matters. They're trying to raise the retirement age. They're trying to work us until we die. It's already 70 years old. 70. They want you to work conceivably for 52 years of your life. They want you working and slaving already for the majority of your life. And now they want to raise it from 70 to what? To 72? We've seen people in Congress in their 70s dying, passing out, and falling asleep on the job. So if they can't do their job properly, and we need to vote their behinds out, what makes them think that we should be trying to work until that age? Which is also making it harder for Gen Z and the millennials to get those jobs, because we still there, hanging on. Why? Because we haven't planned accordingly. I just talked to Job Liberation about the conference about FIRE, about how to get your financial stuff in order. If you need help with that, we've got a course. It's called Beyond the Bling. It's in the description below. Beyond the Bling is our financial independence program for late bloomers. We meet every second Saturday and we talk. It's a self-paced course, and then we meet for group coaching, live Q&A every second Saturday. All right. So you don't have to be a slave to these jobs. You do not. It took us too long to figure that out. And we do not want that for you. Right?
No.
We do not want that for you. Entitlement reform. That's the new buzzword. What is an entitlement?
By whose definition?
By the dictionary's definition. Like an entitlement is something that you get that you don't necessarily deserve, right? Is that the definition of entitled? I'm gonna look it up because words matter. And they have been talking about entitlement entitlement. What's the word? Reform for a long time now. I'm sorry. I'm coming over here and I'm gonna look this up. Wait. Sometimes you know definition, but I would say, okay, the fact of having a right to something, right? A fact of having a right to something. But it is implied, it is a fact of having a right to something that you do not deserve. That's definitely how the right, how Republican MAGA, right? That's how they define it, definitely. Having a right to something that you do not deserve. And so they call, right? But
that's why I'm saying by whose definition.
Exactly. But I wanted to know what the dictionary's definition was, because
that you deserve.
Because it wasn't about whether you deserve it or not. It's just having the fact of having a right to something. Which I think, let me look in Merriam-Webster. The state or condition. Wait, what? Okay. Reject. The state or condition of being entitled, a right to benefits specified specifically by contract or law. All right, so a right to benefits, but it does not say that you deserve or don't deserve, right? They call Social Security, they call Medicare and Medicaid entitlement programs. And they're implying that we are getting something that we have not earned.
For nothing. Yeah, that we didn't earn, and we did earn.
As a matter of fact, Muskrat, the king of apartheid, you know who I'm talking about? He called Social Security a Ponzi scheme. The only Ponzi scheme that is going on right now is with those coins, whatever that Trump is selling. Those Melania coins,
crypto coins,
and the Trump coins, right? That 75% of participants have lost money on, and only about 30 people have actually made money on those coins. That's the Ponzi scheme. That's the Ponzi scheme right now, right? And so as they start talking about entitlement reform, what does this mean for Black retirees and near retirees? We'll be the first and hardest hit. Yeah. Right? So many of our parents, even those, and I was talking to my cousin the other day, and my cousin's mom is a judge, or was a judge. And I was surprised to hear that she had not planned better for her retirement. Now, of course, she gets a nice government pension. But I was surprised to learn that because she's a judge, right? But the fact of the matter is that the majority of Black folks just did not have the exposure back in the day to how you plan successfully for retirement. When we had heard all along that there's this thing called Social Security that I've been paying into, and that's going to cover me. And it could have, had they maintained the same level of increase that they started with. Social Security today could cover most people on a budget, right? But they stopped increasing it with cost of living. They changed the formula. Had they been increasing it the way they had been increasing it in the earlier days, 3,000 or 3,300 or whatever would not be the cap. It would probably be more like 5,000. And they would not be eliminating taxes for people who make $185,000 or more, right? Not eliminating, but not taxing people for that $185,001, that $1 or $2 or 20,000 or 50,000 over 185,000. They're not taxing those people on Social Security. What does that mean? That means that they're trying to create a situation where the system collapsed, so then they can say, "See, we told you it didn't work. We might as well eliminate it. Fine, do what you want to do, but give me back every cent of my penny with the VIG." With the VIG. With interest, right? Every single penny that I paid in, give it back to me in one check without taxes taken out, by the way. That's what I want. So, you don't get to take my money and then not give it back to me. That's what's not going to happen. That's what's not going to happen. All right. So inflation continues to rise. Medicare coverage is being restricted, and many new enrollees are being denied. They're being denied, especially for Medicaid. Point number 4.
Open empowerment of white nationalism.
Trump has reappointed figures with ties to far-right white nationalists. And at the same time as empowering people who said Jews will not replace us, he is disappearing people for being anti-Semitic. But not disappearing the white people who said Jews will not replace us. No. He's disappearing brown people who are against killing brown babies in Gaza and calling them anti-Semitic. But the people who said Jews will not replace us, they get commendations. That's what's going on. That is what's going on. He refuses to condemn hate crimes. He refuses to condemn hate crimes and continues to call people who do those things patriotic Americans. This is what's going on. Quietly, what has the FBI been doing?
Deprioritized white nationalist supremacist extremism. They're deprioritizing it. Well, that's not a problem.
Even though the Southern Poverty Law Center, even though the ACLU said the biggest threat against America is white supremacist terrorists, that's the biggest threat. The FBI has deprioritized that. What do you think that is going to mean to Black Americans?
Restrictions on movement and surveillance.
Exactly. Which is why, something with that because you're probably here, which is why we keep saying the time to do your expat journey is when?
No.
When? Now. It's now. It's now, y'all. It's now. All right. So, as I said, I just got back from the United States. At midnight, I got a call from the hospital. And at 7:00 in the morning, I was on a plane to the United States. I was very, very concerned about not being allowed into the United States because of what we talk about here on this channel. If you think that what we talk about is important, please consider joining and being a member so that you can support our efforts, and so that no matter what the American administration or regime does, that we can continue bringing you the truth, and the truth as it applies to Black folks and our money. All right? Because the TSA has instituted enhanced screening at international import and export points, especially for activists and especially for those who have dual citizenship. Now, y'all know one of the reasons why we chose Portugal is because it was 5 years to citizenship, 5 years to get that passport. And we still want that passport. But dang, we probably are starting to need it more than we want it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What else? What else is going on?
DHS and IRS are reportedly increasing scrutiny on Americans living abroad, especially Black Americans who speak out. So you got to be careful.
Can you guys hear me? Are y'all listening? They are using the departments as lawfare. Warfare, lawfare. That's when you engage in war using the law. You create laws that are specific to a certain group of people, and or you tell the agencies to target certain groups of people. That's lawfare. And that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. You heard how they were talking about investigating James Comey, the former director of the FBI. If he retired honorably, then the assumption is that he's good to go.
Yeah, but
Right? Oh, but he said something. He posted something. And the melon felon got his feelings hurt. And so what is he doing? He is lashing out. If he will lash out against the former head of the FBI, what chance do you and I have? That's all I'm saying. What chance?
I mean, when you fly in the United States, they can take your phone from you. That's kind of scary. That's real scary. They can take your phone from you, detain you.
Look through your stuff with no warrant because you might have said something negative about the melon felon. Really? So we told you what he's doing. Now we want to talk about why. Because this is about self-preservation. The signs are not subtle. The US is shifting towards authoritarianism with racial hostility at its core. Okay? That is what's going on. And we need to just call a spade a spade. Call a spade a spade.
Right.
Okay? And the notion that we should just sit there and put up with this stuff.
You don't have to wait it out.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
You can opt out and build a life where you're not a target.
Okay. Self-preservation. Number 2, create a financial escape hatch. As I was saying, for those of you who participate in the Job Liberations Conference, we have several piles of money. One pile of money is called the FU fund. FU. That means, oh, you want to act like what? You want to do what? On the job? You want to what? Okay, I'm out. F you.
I'm done.
F you. I don't need this job that badly, right? And so you should always have your FU pile of money. The second pile of money that we have is the hell yeah.
Yeah, I want to do that.
Right? So when Picky Girl Travels, when Adelia told us that she was going to Italy, it was like, oh, call a sister up. We'll hook up and come visit you out in Italy when you're there and just chill. And that's what Rick and I did, right? Around Easter week. Because we had that hell yeah fun. You in Italy? We want to go to Italy. You want to come? Hell yeah. We want to come. So we hung out in Rome during Easter week and the Pope died.
Because, I ain't going to say his name.
Because the VP of the Melon Melon killed him. No. Allegedly, reportedly. Right?
I cannot confirm or deny.
Right. Allegedly, reportedly. But this is what you get to do. This is what you get to do when you are not overly optimistic about the promise of America. This is what you get to do when you realize that you cannot depend upon what America says, and that keeping your nose clean and working hard and doing all of those things do not necessarily lead to financial success.
Create a financial escape hatch.
Right?
Have it ready.
Right? Because the U.S. economy is volatile. Your dollar goes further abroad, especially in Portugal, Colombia, Thailand, Vietnam, Mexico, right? All the Panama, the places that we mentioned. And Panama is on the dollar.
Yeah.
Panama is on the dollar. Setting up bank accounts, residency, and income streams abroad now gives you options if capital controls or benefits cuts come later. So, for instance, we were just talking with our channel members in our chitty chat that we have before our live stream, and they were talking about the exchange rate. And I reminded them that Rick and I decided to move 1 year's worth of living expenses because we've saved and we're not living check to check. So we've managed to move 1 year's worth of living expenses from the USA to Portugal when the exchange rate was a lot better than it is today, right? And so we don't feel the ups and downs of the American dollar. We don't feel it. And we don't feel it because, as far as our life in Portugal goes, it's all paid for already with the money that we have in the bank at this rate, right? And so it's done. And we still have 2 years living expenses in our United States bank. How, you say? If you just moved 1 year's worth over, how you still have? Because God is good, y'all. Because when you step out on faith and you're doing the things to create value, right? Money just comes. It just comes. And I don't know. I don't know how that balance never goes down, but it doesn't. It's like magic. It really doesn't. And so I want to encourage all of you. We will be doing another side hustle challenge right after the meetup. Okay, so we'll be announcing that. I thought I was going to do it today. I'm sorry. It looks like our Wi-Fi on this crapped out for a second there. We've got an iPad down here with our notes. But anyway, I thought we were going to launch the next challenge today, but I think I underestimated how much time I needed to just kind of calm down from what I've been dealing with for the past week. So I will get to it. We'll launch it in the next week or so. You'll definitely want to take it, because if you want to know why our balance has not gone down, it's probably because we're coming to you live every week like this, right? And the money, it just comes. It just comes. I don't know. It just comes. So, so Portugal, Thailand, South Korea, Vietnam, Mexico, Panama, all of these places, the dollar goes further. And they have great health care, y'all, because everybody always, yeah, but what about the health care? The United States has some of the worst health care in the world. I watched them kill my dad. I watched them kill my dad. My dad had a stroke in the hospital in the United States, and they didn't even notice. So we've got to get off of this notion that the United States has the best of everything, because it simply does not. It has the best gadgets, mixed spices, guns, maybe. I don't know. But what they don't have is the best healthcare. That's what they don't have.
No, and they're not ranked the highest.
Like from the moment I landed, the doctors were talking to me about, can we kill your dad now? Can we now? Every day they talk to me. Can we kill your dad now? Can we? That was the message. And that's the American healthcare system that some of y'all are fighting so hard to stay a part of. So we set up bank accounts, residency, income streams abroad. You want to do that now. Set up a payment stream, like how you're going to transfer money. Set that up now. It's easier to do that when you're in the United States than it is to do it when you're outside the United States. So for instance, it would have been harder for us to open up a high yield savings account outside of the United States than it was for us to do it inside the United States. I did it for my mom outside the United States, but then I had to get on the phone and they had to verify this and I had to hold up the ID and blah, 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 do whoop, right? Okay, so just do it while you're in the United States. Retirement is safer outside of the US.
Yeah.
Point number 3, point number 1 was it's about self-preservation. Point number 2, financial escape hatch. You probably can reach financial independence more quickly outside of the United States, especially if you can keep your American job. Point number 3, retirement is safer outside of the US. Another thing that I was talking about at the conference is that, or maybe not the conference, I don't know where I said it, but I said it in the last 24 hours. But I was talking about how when we first moved here, Rick and I remember when the trains were they were under maintenance.
Yes.
And so the trains usually have like 5 to 6 cars, but for like 2 months they had 3 cars. So they were still running on the same schedule, but with less cars, but they still had the same amount of customers. So we went down into the metro one night after hanging out downtown, and people were all crammed up in those cars, and I pushed up against the window and stuff. And Rick looked at me and he was like,
I'm walking.
We walking. It's 10 o'clock at night, y'all, and we are walking home from downtown Lisbon to our home.
And we're fine.
It was fine. And it was fine. And not only was it fine, but we saw, older women by themselves walking home on the main boulevard. Did they clutch their purse when we walked by? No. Did they pay attention at all? No. Did the homeless guy who's over there in the park looking kind of twitchy, did he pay attention to the old lady? No. There's just a different culture. United States is very, 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 very violent. It is one of the most violent cultures in the world. Everybody wants to hit somebody. Everybody wants to cuss somebody out, flip somebody off, road rage, everything else. That stuff is not normal. It is not normal. And we have to stop pretending like it is. We have to stop pretending like it is. So retirement outside of the US can be safer. The other thing is that if they get to do what they want to do for Social Security and all of the other Medicare and government pensions, right? You need less money to live abroad. So if your financial independence number included a government pension, if it included Social Security, right? You need less money to live abroad. As we said, Rick and I's, our nut, are the thing that we need to just survive, right? Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that survival level, right? Is $1,500 a month. The lowest Social Security check could pay for that. And we at least know we've got room and board, we've got heat, air, transportation, right? $1,500 a month while they are trying to cut what we have paid into. Countries like Portugal, Mexico, Panama offer affordable health care, safer communities, and they are welcoming to Black expat communities. That part. Y'all, can you imagine going outside and not having to put on all of that armor that we have to put on in the United States? All of that armor to deal with the microaggressions, the Karens, the Chads, right? And you don't even realize that you're doing it until you leave and you no longer have to do it. And then it's like,
and it hits you.
Right?
Yeah.
Then you're like, oh, wait, I've been doing this all along. Wait. And I'm just trying to say, y'all, All right. So, number 1, self-preservation. Number 2, financial escape hatch. Number 3, retirement is safer outside the U.S. Number 4, raise free Black children and grandchildren, please.
At least strive to.
Right? Your descendants deserve better, right? They deserve to grow up without learning survival first and joy second. Your descendants deserve to grow up. I want you to hear me now. Can you hear? To grow up without learning survival first and joy second. Right? We see in the bank the little white kids run around. Just joyful. Ain't nobody saying a word. While the little Black kids are hanging on to mom because they know as soon as they step out of line, they're going to get slapped. Because Black kids do not get to be kids in America, but they do get to be kids outside of America, right? They do. International schooling, right? Bilingual learning environments and multicultural exposure are gifts that you can give to your kids or grandkids today. When? Today. Number 5.
Be part of a global Black Renaissance. Let me say that again. I don't think they heard me in the back.
Just in case.
Be a part of a global Black Renaissance.
Are you whispering?
No.
It is interesting to me, and I am grateful. How many people have called us like Harriet Tubmans and things like that, right? But all of you who are watching right now, you are and can be part of the global Black Renaissance, right? There are thousands and thousands and thousands of Black Americans moving abroad right now, and we're building networks in Africa and Latin America, Europe, Southeast Asia. A modern Black utopia is real and it is rising, y'all. It is rising. And we want you to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Because the sooner you start,
the stronger your community becomes.
That's right. That's right.
And that's what we're building, community.
That's right. And we want you to do the same. All right. And so we're going to end with this, and then we'll see what you guys are saying, and we'll let you go. The time is now. We have been singing the same tune for 3 years now, right? Officially, 3 years and some months, officially here on YouTube. And then we also talk about it on our Substack. So if you are interested in some of the further thinking about how we think about these subject matters, that's over on Substack, and you can subscribe for free, right? You can subscribe to our YouTube channel for free, and that helps out the channel as well. You can like it. That helps out the channel. You can share it. That helps out the channel. All of that is free, And that lets YouTube know that this is information that our community needs to see. So the top 3 picks in 2025, okay, I know that you guys are going to think that we're being biased, but this was based upon analytics. It was, I put in some information and this is what spit it out. So the top 3 picks, if you're just beginning and you want ease, affordability, and a Black community abroad, the 3 picks are
Portugal, number 1.
Mexico, number 2. And the last one is
Ghana.
So Portugal's best overall combination of safety, ease, and a growing black expat network, right? I mean, just last night we had a pizza and wine party with at least 4 people that have been living here as long as we have, and we had never met them. That's how many Black English-speaking people are here in Portugal. Mexico.
Yeah, it's close to home.
Right.
If you consider U.S. home, it's low cost.
Yep.
And visas are easy.
Visas are really easy. That's why we have permanent residency in Mexico as well. People sleep Mexico. Because you went to Cabo, you went to Cancun, and you think that's what Mexico is. That's not Mexico.
That's not Mexico.
That's the resort towns of Mexico. We will be in Mexico in September. In the last week of September, we're going to do a meetup. It's going to be Rick's birthday, and we're going to celebrate. We're going to be in Querétaro. That's Mexico. That's real Mexico. And then the last is Ghana, because it's most affirming for our ancestral, African roots, right? They did the big coming home thing. I know Ghana has some issues. Every country has issues. But don't nobody got more issues than the United States. So Trump isn't the future of the United States, y'all. Trump is not the future. But what he is a warning. He is a warning, because even if he gets voted out in 3.5 years, 3.5 years, or if he gets impeached and that impeachment leads to an indictment, he has already created the atmosphere for MAGA. There will be others who take his place. That's the problem. He is not the future. He is the warning. So,
yeah. If you ever said, I just want peace, then now's your time to get your peace.
Now is the time. Now is the time. Don't wait until borders tighten, y'all. Lord have mercy, have we been saying this
constantly?
Right? Like, who would have thought that we would be talking about American citizens being held up at the airport for border crossing? Talking about, let me see your phone, and do you talk about? Who would have thought 5, 6, 7 months ago that we would be having this conversation? So don't wait until borders tighten, benefits shrink, or violence escalates, because all of those are possible. Some of those are probable, and some maybe even inevitable. Right? I think he's going to tighten the borders. Like, I don't mean coming in. Well, coming in for American citizens, that should never, ever, ever be a thing, right? That should never be a thing. But I mean for folks leaving. That's the thing.
Yeah, if there's too much of a drain, he will definitely do it.
That's the thing.
I mean, stop and think about it. Okay, we know it was a big show for him to bring the white South African. You know what? That was a big show for him to bring these people over here, give them a free pass. And hey, don't get me wrong, I'd be shocked if he didn't turn around and give them land too. But he won't help Black and brown farmers. He won't help them. They don't get the loans.
No. You hear the black farmers. They didn't get bailed out the last time he started this nonsense, right? And they're not getting bailed out this time. Oh, but there are all these white Afrikaners, these colonizers who are being discriminated against, not in their home country, but in a country that their ancestors stole.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what y'all are talking about. That's what we got for you today. I'm so friggin' over it. I'm so friggin' over it. We want for you to start learning to live freely abroad with joy and passion and purpose. Okay, that's what we want for you. And I feel so grateful that I get to live this life. I really do. I really do. I really do. I cannot lie. All right. Let's see what you guys are talking about, and then we'll let you go. We want to keep it short and sweet. Oh my goodness gracious. There's a lot of comments because we went through the whole thing, y'all. We went through the whole thing. So maybe I should go back up to the top. First of all, thank you, Allison.
Thank you, Allison.
As you all know, all of our super stickers, super chat, super thanks money goes to our scholarship fund for Beyond the Bling. That is our financial independence program for late bloomers like ourselves. So thank you. And thank you, Josette. We really, really appreciate it. All right. So I'm going to go back up to the top because I didn't realize, we've been talking for a minute now and y'all have been chitty chatting. And I want to make sure that we do not miss anything. As we said, put a Q in front of your comment or question, and we will get to it. Hey, Double T, Yakota, good to see you. And Peter in the chat, Marine. Kemi, Jess, good to see you. Valerina, Black Cat, Kyoto. Eating pastiche de nata. Right now, Trader Joe's, which is interesting because, okay, so pastiche de nata, that's plural. That's plural. So I wonder, is that what it said on the package, or did it say pastel, which is singular? Hey, Harmony. They are afraid of our unity than our rage. They're more afraid of our unity than our rage. They should be afraid of both, actually. But yeah, I get you. They want you to act up. If you don't act up, do it smartly. If you do it smartly, intelligently, and plan and with a plan and a goal. Right? We need to get on point. Yeah, seriously. If you're going to get into trouble, get into good trouble, and make sure that you have a backup plan. Right? Like you've got an attorney. They know what you're doing. Like because this is no joke, y'all. This is not 10 years ago. This is not. You saw the only 3 people that I saw get arrested at the protest like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, were Black women. What are we doing? What are we doing? Right? Okay. The residual money has to be right to move abroad. That's right. Exigent flight might be problematic. What do you say? Don't let
desperation be your motivation.
Yeah, don't let desperation be your motivation. That's not what we want for you. That's not what we want for you. Rick and I were saving 65% of our income. Y'all know that, right? For 2 years before we left. We saved 2 years living expenses. We saved of that 65% of our income, all of that money went into our investment accounts, and we have not touched it. We have been able to not touch it. So it is still sitting there, making money, losing money, making money, losing money, etc. So it's made more money than it's lost because the melon felon hasn't been in long enough. As I said before, well, that's not true. Usually we say for money that you're going to put into the stock market, it should not be money that you need any sooner than 5 years.
Right.
That's what we say. But now with the melon felon doing the things that he's doing and causing the global ripple effect that he is causing, I'm saying 10 years. If you plan for 10 years and it's less, no harm, no foul, right? No harm, no foul. But if you plan for 5 years and it's 7 years, that's not going to be a good look. Did you get your financial act together before you moved abroad or after? We got our financial act together before we moved. Before we moved, y'all. So as we said, 2018 is when we got the wake-up call. By 2021, we had gone from negative 22,000 to over 800,000 in net worth by the end of 2021. By the beginning of 2022, it wasn't at 1.1 million yet, but yeah, so it was, so that up until we launched our thing, it was about, somewhere between 800 and 850,000 net worth, something like that. And yeah, and so we did all of that before we left. I'm not, like, he has a Social Security check. I do not. I'm too young to get a Social Security check. So that means that in my mind, we had to design a life off of $2,700 a month, his Social Security check. Because the 2 years living expenses, that's an emergency fund, right? And then the money that is in our brokerage accounts, in the investment accounts, the IRAs, the 401k rollovers, and all of that kind of thing, we are what people call Coast Fi, which means that we have enough money in our investment accounts that given time, it will make enough money to support us in the future. So we no longer have to necessarily contribute to it, although we do. And so that's called Coast Fi. That is basically where we're at, where we do have to cover today's costs, but tomorrow's costs are covered by our investments. And then of course we've got the emergency fund. So since we were talking about living off of just one Social Security check, I did not feel comfortable until we had like 2 years living expenses saved. That's what I needed to feel comfortable to make this move. Thank you, Double T. Thank you. Hey, Professor, good to see you. Thank you. Hey, willing to fail, Tammy M. It's all so overwhelming, like a flash flood of evilness. It really is. And I think that's the point. I really do think that's the point. Hey, Peggy. Thank you. Hey, Nicole. Let's see. I'm looking for questions. I really do think that, like, inundating us with a bunch of nonsense is part of how they believe that they will win, because we don't know what to concentrate on. Mm-hmm. So I think that we should just concentrate on thanks, Pacific Northwest. My parents did get into good trouble. They did. And I'm gonna be writing about it on our Substack, the information that I'm finding out. But yeah, like I don't know. Yeah, woke equals black people. You're absolutely right. A woke program like DEI allows white women, gays, and vets to get hired first. That part. And see, that's the thing. Like half of MAGA did not realize that they were DEI hires. They didn't even realize. The same is true with the appropriations, the government appropriations for contracts, right? When governments appropriate a certain amount of contracts to underserved communities or for communities that have been previously discriminated against, that's how they word it, right? That includes white women. And so when you look at the majority of contracts that are given by the government under that program, the majority are white women. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's who gets those contracts. And then for some of those companies, the white women are not even running the companies. They just have their name on it so that they can get the contract. And it's really their husband's company. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what they're doing. So I'm with you, Tammy. I'm with you. I only want to be around woke people too, because if like Greta said, if you're not woke, you're not a critical thinker. And I'm not trying to be around people. I like to hang around with people who are smarter than me. That's who I like to hang around with. So, all right, I'm looking for y'all's questions or comments. Um, Please remind us how to become members. So you can, thank you, Maureen. You can become a member. The join button should be right below. Let me see. Let me go online and see what it looks like. It should be right
Just the
below.
joint. Yes,
Right? Let's see. I'm gonna log in right now. Let me make sure that I mute this. And go to videos. Oops. Now, of course, it's trying to connect to the internet. Okay, so I'll check that and then I'll let you know. All right. OBU needs to affirm that we are a people of 100,000 subscribers. Yes, I received that, Greta. I see it. We ain't trying nothing. The work is solid. Thank you, Greta. We appreciate that so much. We really do. Alisi, when you entered and exited the USA, did you turn off your electronics to avoid a search? I was so out of it, CK, that no, I did not. And thankfully, I think I might have told you guys this last week. We when I landed and turned off the airplane mode on my phone immediately rang and I got a call from the hospital. So then I just broke down. I just broke down right there. And so a flight attendant actually walked me out. Her name is Linda. I'm going to give her a shout out. I'm going to give her flowers. I'm going to go online to American Airlines because, American Airlines, right? I'm going to go online to American Airlines and make sure that I give them my flight number, my time, and my date, and give her a shout out because she walked me from the plane to the curb where I would meet my cousin for her to pick me up. And so I went through all the fast lanes, right, with the crew. And TSA was like, who is she? And the flight attendant said, she's with me. And thankfully I had global entry, so that made it easier. And I just got out of it. And it's a good thing because I was so out of it right then. I don't think as many times as I've been to LAX, I'm not sure I would have been able to find my way out. I really don't. I really don't know. So thankfully that's what.
There's a join button.
Okay, where is it? There it is. Okay, so I was looking on YouTube on the other computer. So right underneath the screen, underneath where it says why you should start your expat journey now, and then there's the little logo, and next to that says join. Okay, and so that's how you can join, become a member of our channel, and support the work that we are doing. The other thing that you can do is sign up for our Ready to Retire toolkit, our Ready to Retire toolkit, or just for our newsletter, okay? Because we understand that there may come a time when YouTube says no anti-Trump stuff. And there's nothing that we can do about that, right? We do not own YouTube. There's nothing we can do about that. So then that means we need to bring you over to Substack. And we go live on Substack, right? We are not going to stop. We are not going to stop calling out evil as we see it. We're not going to stop calling out tyranny as we see it. I will not leave this earth with my parents' work left in vain. I will not. I will not. And if my dad put his career and everything else on the line so that our babies and grandbabies can have a better life, like I said to you guys before, he was in the room when Kwanzaa was created. They called him a Negro militant. That's what they called him. That's what they called him. And all he was doing was trying to get a Black Studies program at San Diego State, trying to make sure that San Diego State was treating Black applicants the same way they were treating white applicants. No more, no less, right? And demanding equality. That's it. And for that, he got his security pass taken. Our home was bugged. Our phone was tapped. He got arrested on a regular basis. They called him a communist, took away his security pass. He could not work anymore. All of that, state sanctioned tyranny. So I will not shut up. We are not going to go backwards with this nonsense. Hey, Shara, good to see you in the chat. And we are not going to go back with this nonsense. That's not what we're going to do. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. So if you believe that the information that we share is valuable, please smash that like button so that YouTube knows that this is information that they should share with other folks. I'm going through the comments right now and I'm marking the ones that have questions. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to fill the time with my chatter. If you believe that more people need to know about our Black Utopia, then please subscribe. We know that 50% of the people who watch our videos are not even subscribed, and we are getting to 100,000. That is our goal. We want to make sure that Black folks know that they have a choice, that moving abroad is not just for the rich and the wealthy, that normal people can do it too, and we want to show them how. Okay? And if you believe what we believe, then we're asking you, subscribe, like, share. If you're watching from the future, hey. hope the future was nice. Yes. Okay. So yes. So okay, Patricia. Yes, Black twins, young men. I still don't know who did it. I need to follow up. On that story, because I have no idea. Thank you, Personality Speaking. Thank you again. All of the super thanks money goes to our scholarship fund for Beyond the Bling. That is our financial independence program for late bloomers. Okay, I think I'm almost at the bottom. Let's see. Maybe not. Wanda White. Thank you, Wanda. Thank you. Don Anderson. Another Warren. Marking all of these questions, y'all. Okay. I expected you to say LAWD, Lord. I mean, would we have ever thought that there would be a time within our lifetime, right? Within our lifetime, that we really had to watch what we said to this extent. Now, I should know better. Like, I should not have been surprised, and I'm not really totally surprised, right? But because of what happened to my mom and dad, right? And it was not any of their deeds necessarily, but the words coming out of their mouth that provoked the KKK within the police force and what's his name? The witch hunt guy.
Oh.
The FBI witch hunt guy. I'm blanking. Yeah, exactly.
I can even remember his name.
So it starts with M, and I just had it in my brain, but now it's gone. Anyway.
FBI guy?
Mm-hmm. It was doing the communist witch hunts.
With an M?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember it.
Okay, y'all. I'm having a brain fart right now because I just mentioned, I mentioned him earlier today. Hey, Stephanie. Good to see you in the chat. I just mentioned earlier.
Was he the director of the FBI?
Yes. Mick.
I
think it's MC.
No.
Okay. So now I'm going to have to Google it. Y'all know that, right? I'm going to have to Google it because I'm having this brain fart and I can't think straight and mark these questions at the same time. Trump is the symptom. He is only the symptom, y'all. He is only the symptom. And that's the thing, right? That's the thing. Hey, Passion Diver One. Passion Diver One. Thank you for becoming a member. We will see you next Sunday before the live stream in the chitty chat. So you will get there. We post every week, and it's the same link. So once you have the link, you don't have to check. You can just put it in your.
So the director of the FBI that you're talking about was J. Edgar Hoover.
Yeah, but
you're talking about this. He was a senator or something like that.
Was he the senator? Okay. Who was in charge? McCarthy.
Yeah.
The McCarthy. I knew it was MC.
And she said FBI. That's what threw me off.
Okay, so it was Hoover's FBI, and McCarthy was leading the charge.
Right.
Okay, thank you. All right. I don't know. I knew Hoover.
Dennis.
Hey, Dennis. Thank you. As
Dennis.
always, thinking where I'll move probably a bit. And ultimately, though, Europe near the Mediterranean, Italy, France, Spain. Okay, regardless, thinking of buying a spot in one of those places as an emergency space before the revolution. Buy now. If you can do it, buy now. It's not going to be any cheaper than it is right now, right? And depending, like Italy, I think Italy still might have some kind of golden visa type of thing, and I know they still have that dollar program. If you're willing to do a fixer-upper. So I would say yes. Yes, by now. Okay, I'm going to go back to the top and start answering these questions. CH. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize. There's no join button. I'm looking at it. There might not be a join button for you, CK, because you already joined.
No, it should have a join button on there.
Well, when I log in as Our Black Utopia, I can't see the join button. I mean, yeah. So I'm wondering because Shara just joined. Thank you, Shara, for becoming a member. Right? So that means it's got to be there. It's got to be there. What's a good bank to open up in another country? Barbara, banks are country specific. So the question is, what are you opening a bank account for? For what purpose? Right? So that's the first question, because once you answer that question, then you can start thinking about which countries are the best to open that bank account in, depending upon what your objectives are. Okay. And then the third question is then which bank, once you decide on your purpose and your country. Okay. All right. Let's start answering these questions. There's a lot, y'all. Okay. Hey, Haley. Hey there. All right, we've gotten all of the new members and everything. So Norman Sims says, is there a day rate for the meetup and what is the time and location? So, hey, Norman. So June 16th and 17th, we are, the reception is the 16th. The all day trip is the 17th, and we're not selling the tickets separately. There's just too much going on. We did do that last year because there was a limit on how many people we could have on the boat trip. And so once we reached that limit for the boat trip, then we only sold tickets to the reception. But this year there is no limit because it's all bespoke. So we're not going to sell the tickets separately. June 16th and 17th, and the information is in the description below. And I'm sure Greta or actually VJ has probably put the information in the chat as well, because they are just so on it like that. The only time we do have is now. They have me registered as a Republican. got to go in person and change it. See how they do? And Greta is in Mexico, and they're making her show up in person to change her registration. That in 2025 is absolutely ridiculous. But that's what I'm talking about when I say that there is that America is considered a flawed democracy. That's the kind of voter suppression. It seems so, well, yeah, but she didn't. Come on now. In 2025, if we can notarize something online, if we can get something apostilled online, right? If we can do background checks online and we can hold up the driver's license or the passport to the camera and then put our face to the camera, you telling me that they can't do this for voter registration? Really? Really? No, they don't want people to vote. That's the truth. They don't want people to vote. I wish my friends would listen, but they don't think it's going to get that bad. The lack of urgency, that I saw in America over the last 2 weeks that I was there just a week ago is amazing. It is amazing. It is amazing. They are either like choosing to tune out, in denial, or willfully ignorant. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what them folks are doing. I don't know what them folks are doing. But I tell you one thing, on the way back, I watched, and I don't know how many of you have watched Casablanca. I watched Casablanca. And it's interesting looking at it today with what is going on in the United States and the feeling that there may come a time where folks will have to flee, right? And then watching that interpretation of what that looked like during Nazi Germany. It was eye-opening, y'all. If you haven't watched it in a while, go rewatch it. I'm sure it's on Netflix or something. Grateful you made it back home safe. Oh, thank you, Greta. Yeah. Yes, being in the US as a critical thinker is scary. It really is. It really is. I've never wanted reparations. My reparations is the American passport and my bank account. Hi, Writer Skater. I think we all deserve reparations. I want my reparations. I want my reparations. Do I think I'll get it in my lifetime? No, I don't. And that just means they'll owe my son more. That's what I think. They owe, like, the word reparations is a legal term, right? It is a legal term. And what it means is to repair the damage. There has been damage that has been done by the government to folks of African American descent, right? Like to the folks who are the descendants of folks who were previously enslaved. There has been damage done. There continues to be damage done. They gave reparations to the Japanese. They gave reparations to the Jews. But they have yet to give us reparations. And they think that the privilege of living in the United States should be all the reparations that we need. I call bullshit. I call bullshit. I want my reparations. I want them. We deserve them. And I want it in cash. I don't want like entitlement. I don't want like, oh, free tuition or anything like that. No, the Japanese got cash. I want cash. I used to say free college tuition, but college don't mean shit anymore. Somebody's calling. It does not mean anything anymore, right? Like, stop that. A 4-year degree does not get you the ROI that it used to. So no, cash money. They're trying to install a black MAGA as president of an HBCU. And I'm surprised a black MAGA would even want to be the president of an HBCU because it seems to be an oxymoron. Like it seems to be cognitive dissonance. How are you going to support a man who is openly racist, and then lead a community of Black kids at a university, right? Like, make that make sense. I don't see how he could do that, because Black MAGA has to tell themselves that racism is not a thing.
They do.
Right? That's what they have to be telling themselves. So if racism is not a thing, then why do we need HBCUs? Right? Make that make sense. How does one start with no career history, degree, or savings, and you're living paycheck to paycheck? I want to go, but I don't know how to get started. Okay. Ashira, I don't know how old you are, but if you are living paycheck to paycheck, that means you do have a career history, because you get a paycheck.
Yeah, a paycheck.
Right? Which means you know some stuff. So there's only two ways to do it. It's very simple. There's no magic formula. There's no magic pill. There's nothing. You either have to make more money or you have to spend less. That's the only way. So what Rick and I did is we cut out the waste. We looked at our spending line for line, every single penny that was spent. We looked to see where it was spent. Was it a need or was it a want? If it was a want, then we said, is this something that we can get for less money? Or is this something that we even still want? And we cut out the stuff that we didn't want, but we were still paying for, a lot of subscriptions and things like that. We cut out cable, basic, everything, cut it, satellite, whatever. We cut it. And we started replacing the things that we needed, like cell phone service, with cheaper versions, right? So, for instance, going from Verizon to like a T-Mobile or something like that, right? So that's how you can cut expenses. The other thing is, depending upon what your living situation is, and see, this is the thing that Americans don't like to do, and especially grown folks don't like to do. The biggest expense is housing. The biggest expense is housing, and so there has to be some housing hacks involved. When we were saving money, my father was renting a room from us, and he insisted on paying $500 a month. Okay, and of course, we fed him and took care of him and everything else, but he insisted on that, and so that helped us cut costs and or raise income, however you want to look at it, because the cost of our mortgage or it raises our income, right? That $500 a month. So you could get a roommate. You could be a roommate, right? Downsize if you're not owning, right? If you do own a home, could you rent for less than your mortgage? And if so, could you rent out your house for more than your mortgage, right? That could bring in some extra income. Side hustles obviously bring in extra income. Rick and I have had a side hustle for our entire marriage. So that's the income side. And then we talked about cutting expenses side. As I said, we were saving 65% of our income at the end. But the first thing is to see how you're spending, why you're spending, what you're spending on, right? And then once you see that, because you got your why, right? Everybody needs to have a why, because I'm telling you, spending money on stuff and things does feel good in the moment. It does. It's therapy. So you need to keep in mind why it is so important for you to become financially independent, and put it up in writing. We had a fake, obviously, $1 million bill on our ceiling in Denver. And every morning we woke up, we saw that $1 million bill, right? So you need to know the whys. You need to know the whys. We also did a video on how to get out of credit card debt with zero cash flow. If you have no extra money to put towards your credit card bills, we did a video on how you can still get out of credit card debt sooner than later with no extra money. Okay, so Ashura, if that is one of your issues, be sure to check out that video. He spelled HIPPA instead of saying HIPAA. That's like, right? Like Home Chick saying A1. The kids need to be, we want our kids to be top notch in A1 technology. Or Kennedy, whose daddy and granddaddy and uncle, I'm sure, are rolling over in their grave for the nonsense that he's doing. Talking about, oh, wait, what do you mean we cut research for cancer? I didn't authorize, wait, we did? Let me check that out. No, that was DEI. That's what we cut. We cut DEI. White people spend far too much time fixating about Black people, and it's all about jealousy. By the way, yeah, I said it. So my daddy used to say, everybody wants to get next to the magic. And he was right. He was right. Yeah, like they are fixated on us. They are fixated on us. And it's like, it is kind of trippy. It's like, get a life. Go police yourself. Why are you worried about what we're doing, what we're saying, what we're thinking, what we're like? Get a life. Don't you think that we have fallen to educate ourselves and our progeny like our ethnic folks, like other ethnic folks? USA non-ethnics are doing what they have always done. Failed, I think is what you meant to say, CK. I don't know. Because the people that I hang out with, if I judged it by the people that I hang out with, I would say no, that's not the case. So I don't know. You know who I was raised by, right? Sister Soldier, Malcolm X. And so that's how I grew up. And so my son grew up learning what he needed to learn about whatever I knew, he knew. That's the thing, right? Whatever my daddy and mommy taught me is what I taught him, plus everything else that I learned subsequent to that. So I don't know. I do know that there's some fools out there, but they've always been there. Like, the people that I know who say foolish things is because their parents and grandparents say foolish things. So back in the day, they were foolish then. Right? You know what the response is when I try to discuss finances and debt freedom to my relations? They don't want to talk about it.
No,
Willful ignorance keeps folks indentured.
It does.
The biggest enslavement is our own stinking thinking. It really is. And I just want to say, like, I'm not immune to that. Whoops. I'm not immune to that. Rick had been telling me for years to contact my cousin regarding real estate investing. But I already knew that you needed a perfect credit score in order to qualify. And I didn't want to be embarrassed in front of my cousin that I couldn't qualify for an extra piece of property. And so I missed out. And we missed out. And we could have been here earlier. Right?
Yeah.
But for stinking thinking. They want to work you until you show skeletons. Seriously. Should we opt out of retirement plans right now to better prepare financially for a move?
Kind of a hard question to answer.
Yeah, in a vacuum, right? Like, I think there are questions that I will pose back to you. How much money can you give to a pre-tax account and not change the amount of money that you bring home? If you don't know that answer, you need to find that out. And then once you find that out, does that still allow for you to save enough money to do this move in a time frame that you want? When do you plan to retire? When do you plan to need that money that's in your retirement plan? I would not. Okay, so those are the questions you need to ask yourself. I would not opt out of a minimum of whatever the match is, because you're giving away free money.
Right?
So if they match to 3%, I would still at least give 3%. And so that they can give their 3% and I can get that, right? Like, don't leave any money on the table. That doesn't even make logical sense. I never necessarily suggest not investing. But again, without knowing all of the situation, those are the questions that I would ask myself. And yeah, so they turned entitlements into a dirty word. Yes, they did. But we are entitled to it because we paid for it and therefore it is owed to us. Another Warren says, you are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. And what pisses me off is when people who are Democratic, who are on the other side of the aisle, who use the same terminology. Words are powerful, y'all. Words are powerful. Words can bring things into existence and out of existence. And it's right. It really can. And so we got to watch the words that we use, how we use them, and make sure that we are using them purposefully. Which companies allow for a shorter path to citizenship for us? Potentially speaking, I think you meant countries. And besides a golden visa, the shortest one that I know of is Portugal, 5 years. Do you know of any shorter?
Unless the thing in Ghana.
I don't think that's gotten shorter. So the other thing is there are a few African countries that we've mentioned before that will allow you a passport based upon DNA.
Based upon DNA, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so if you've done a DNA test, I want to say, I don't know if it was Nigeria or Kenya, one of those, it seems, was one of them. But you can Google it, which countries, which African countries will allow you to get citizenship via DNA. But yeah, so that's probably the shortest path short of buying a passport. Comey should be inconvenienced. He should, because he was like mealy mouth. He should have come out much stronger. He should have shut up about Hillary and them stupid damn emails. They got Signalgate. They bringing in mama and daddy and big mama and them and, this press person and that press person into war chats. And they're still, but her emails. Are you friggin' kidding me right now? Ugh. They're telling people to take your face recognition off your devices so people cannot access your data.
Right.
Did we think we would come to this, y'all? Did we think we would come to this?
Yeah, your fingerprints in your face.
What is weighing on my mind concerning finances is, will the government change the rules regarding Roth IRAs? I can see this government taxing Roths. Yeah. Tana Rose, I don't think so. Because that's their class of people, right? Like, they're not going to, I see them raising income taxes on lower wages before I see them taxing IRAs. But, it wouldn't be retroactive. They couldn't tax. We put money in there under a certain situation. So it would just be moving forward. Don't you think there may be a health reason as to why the EU doesn't have USA mixed seasonings?
Could be. Yeah, could be ingredients.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, but like I said, you can make your own. If you look and you see, it's got onion powder, garlic powder, paprika, well, make your own. The same thing happened with my mother, as the doctors kept asking me to take her home or consider palliative care, even though they could not release her until, yeah, exactly. The United States healthcare system is something else. And I called Rick and I said, they keep calling me saying, can we kill your dad? I'm curious if people are moving investments out of U.S. heavy funds. I haven't touched anything, but this is blatant market manipulation. May become more common with these grifters. Yeah. So Tammy, we have started putting our additional monies. We haven't taken any money out, but our additional monies are going into index funds, ETFs, etc., that are foreign companies. Yeah, and more specifically, some of the BRIC countries, companies that are located in BRIC countries. How can we leave now without a stream of income? I'm ready to leave, and it's stressful trying to pay to live here and try to leave. Recently unemployed and trying to rebuild so I can leave. Ugh. You can't leave without an income stream. And I would never, ever, ever, ever suggest that somebody leave without an income stream. Start trying to find remote work, especially from the companies that were doing remote before COVID. Okay. We have done a video on finding remote work. Gosh, I can't remember which one it is. And let's see if I can find it. And which platforms are better to find remote work. Okay. So I will try and find that after this is over and put it in the description below, because I don't want to do it right now. I can't think and talk and do that at the same time. But anyway, we did do a list. So I will point you to that video in the description below after we finish this live, right? Because it's already been 2 hours. So we gotta wrap this up. Yeah, we do not suggest that you go into these international streets, y'all, talking about where's the bread line and is there Section 8, okay? Because that's not a good look. That is not a good look. But here's the thing: like, you can live in Mexico for $20 an hour, making $20 an hour. You could do that, okay? So maybe you start looking for a different type of job, and it may be easier to find, right? Those lower paying jobs may be easier to find, right? But you do need to have some savings, have some emergency savings. It costs to move, okay? Even to Mexico, it costs to move. So you are going to need to save some money. But if you can bring in enough so that you've got a gap between your income and expenses, and you can start paying off some old debt and things like that if you move to Mexico or someplace like that, right? Then it's definitely worth it. It is definitely worth it. But we would never suggest that you just, fly by the seat of your pants. Alicia and Rick, thank you for giving me the courage to move. You're so welcome, Ruth. It speaks volumes that you are taking time to encourage us to make this move during the loss of your dad. Oh, thank you. Thank you. This is a good distraction, because otherwise I'd just be thinking about if I woulda, coulda, shoulda. Every day before my mother passed, the doctors asked me to take her. See how they do? See how they do? I'm just saying. So Cass, you might want to sign up for Beyond the Bling, but at least get the Ready to Retire toolkit. It's in the description below, okay? And that's going to walk you through how to assess your finances and then create a program for repair, okay? So it's free. It's in the description below under free resources. LaRonda, I used to take care of a lady who had a heart attack at a doctor's appointment. Wow. She told doc she thought she was having one, and he said she wasn't. Nurse walks in and says, my God, she's having a heart attack. That's why they call it practicing medicine, because they just practicing, and they're practicing on us. That's what they're doing. They're practicing on us. Nurses, y'all, give them their due. Yeah. They keep the doctors from accidentally killing you. It's true. It's true. Is there a meetup this year in Mexico? Yeah. So we're going to be in Mexico. I'm just going to put it out there. We do not have our green card renewals yet, but I'm going to buy these plane tickets. We will be there the last week in Mexico in September 2025 celebrate Rick's birthday. So we're talking about like the 26th, September 26th, I think is going to be the day. I think that's going to be the day, something like that, that we meet up. They need to get us these cards. We're going to put it out there. Positive energy that we will get our appointment and our cards on time. Word on the street is that the white South Africans that came to America aren't even farmers. They got land that they don't know a thing, and they don't know a thing about farming. Who gave them land? They got land.
I said I wouldn't be surprised.
Our tax dollars gave these people land. See, that's going to piss me off. Thank you, Wanda. Thank you. We appreciate it. We definitely appreciate it. Are countries deporting U.S. expats, or is that unconfirmed? It's getting harder to find verifiable news. I have not heard about any countries deporting U.S. expats who are in the country legally. They have been deporting U.S. citizens who have overstayed their visa.
If you overstay your visa, yeah.
Not here in Portugal per se, but in other countries, yes. They were just looking the other way. They're Americans. Oh, they're spending, blah, blah, blah. But then they're like, yeah, no. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. So yeah, but not people who are in a place legally. I have not heard of that. See, Moody just downgraded the U.S. credit. So that means that the value of the dollar is going to dip even more. That's what that means. Y'all, I believe the U.S. will split Yugoslavia and the original Soviet Union. Oh my God. Just saying Soviet Union. It's like, are you kidding me right now? Pay no attention to the distractions. Only think about what you want. Pay attention and then put it to the back of your mind. Because you always want to be aware of what the potential is of how bad it can get, right? Like it would be really easy to say, oh, they're just disappearing, Arabs and Latinos, right? I'm Black. I'm an FBA, right? Like it would be really easy to say that, but we know the deal. We know what happens, right? We know what happens. And they're going for the people who they think nobody cares about. And they've been surprised. They've been surprised to show up in Iowa, right? In rural Iowa, to see signs saying free Kilmar, right? They've been surprised. But it was only a matter of time until they start coming for us, right? They've already said, they've already argued that birthright citizenship only applies to the ancestors of slaves. So they only want us here. And of course, the indigenous, they can't do anything about that. They only want us here. Who's picking them grapes? E Phoenix, thank you for becoming a member.
Yeah,
thank you, Coach HC. Yvette, thank you for becoming a member and supporting us. Carmen, thank you so much for becoming a member and supporting our Black Utopia and our mission to make sure that Black folks, English-speaking folks, know that they have choices, know that they do not have to be enslaved to these jobs, that there is a way out, right? It does take time, okay? But there is a way out, and you can become financially free. If you need help, we have our Ready to Retire toolkit. That is in the description below. We have our program, Beyond the Bling, which is our financial independence program for late bloomers like Rick and myself. Everything that we learn to get from negative 22,000 to over 800,000 in net worth within that 3.5 to 4 year period, everything that we learned is in this course, and everything that we've learned subsequent to that is in the course. It also comes with group coaching or live Q&A, whatever you want to call it, every second Saturday of the month, okay? And so that is Beyond the Blink. That is in the description below. Our meetup, June 16th and 17th, that is in the description below, as well as our Move Abroad Toolkit. If you want to move abroad, if you are ready to go, if you looked at your money and you said, the math is mathing, now I just need to figure out how to do this thing. We have a toolkit to walk you through the whole process. It's the Move Abroad Toolkit. It's in the description below. It's like a 15-page workbook. It comes with emails to walk you through it. Everything from the budgeting to the planning, all the questions you need to ask, et cetera, is in that toolkit. And with that, we will see you on Thursday.
And this Thursday is a short Thursday.
Yeah, this Thursday is our Thursday short. And so if you've got a question that you would like us to answer in a Thursday short, send it to us at hello@ourblackutopia.com. And with that, we love you and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.